Hello, my name is Josh, and I'm here with your 30-second news report from all things NFL because we are not doing news because we are doing these videos. So, the 30-second news report for this week. Deshaun Watson and Amari Rogers do not show up for OTAs. And Julio Jones, will he be traded and where to? This is your 30-second news report with Josh. So, without further ado, football, your own place for all your news reports, updates, and highlights, and roll the intro.
Welcome, guys, to Frontline Football. We're going to start off with the worst team for draft grades, and that is the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to hand this one off to Jack.
The Cincinnati Bengals. Now, if I'm honest, I have a love-hate relationship with this draft. Because when you look at it on the surface, it's like, why didn't you take Penn State at 5? You took Jamar Chase. But the Bengals do run a lot of wide receiver sets, 3 wide receiver sets. He's got good chemistry with Joe Burrow. And another factor is they don't have a lot of depth in that room. It's pretty top heavy with T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, but there wasn't a lot other than those two. So I'm warming up to it. I still would have preferred Penny Sewell, but it's growing on me. I guess it depends how much you believe in Jonah Williams as your franchise left tackle. Time will tell. But you kind of start to make up with it. You get a guard, Jackson Carmen, solid guard out of Clemson. That's a pretty good job. And then you get one of the steals of the draft in Joseph Osai. I mean, I've seen this guy go anywhere from the early to mid-first to late second. I've never seen him go to a third, but he did. He fell all the way to the third. And this is a really nice edge rusher. You lost Carl Lawson. I get you brought in Trey Hendrickson, but he's more of a cleanup guy. And the goal is for Osai to be a premier pass rusher at some point, and that's good value. Then you move on. You work on some defense, some O-line, so solid job in the late rounds. Questionable move. Evan Mcpherson, a kicker in the 5th round. Little early for my taste. Just a little bit. I mean, not even another kicker was taken. You couldn't have waited until at least the 6th. But overall, I'm going to give this draft a B, a high-ish B. Because I like a lot of the picks. I like the value. But it will all just come down to Jonah Williams. I know that sounds weird, but if Jonah Williams is a franchise left tackle, then this draft will look pretty good. But if Jonah Williams not a franchise left tackle, and Penny Sewell is, then this draft is going to have a major problem. But for now, B, with potential to move down to a C, with potential to move up to an A, depending on what happens with all these guys. So time will tell with this draft, but for now, I give it a solid B. What are your thoughts, Zach?
All right, with Jamar Chase at 5, it's growing on me now, and I really like the move, but not enough. Like, Sewell is such a good talent that I don't think it will move your grade. I think it will just be like an A still. All right, and then you guys get Jackson Cameron out of Clemson, offensive tackle. He did go to Clemson. He protected Trevor very well. I think that this will be a good pick, but you could have had Sewell, so I'm going to bring this down to like an A minus. And then you get the Joseph Osai, which is, I know he changed his name, but I can't pronounce it, so I'm going to say Joseph Osai. Defensive end. No, it's not this person. Joseph Osai, defensive end out of Texas. That's a very good pick. I had him going in the 1st round and maybe slipping into the early second round. You guys got a premium defensive end, and I think that he'll be a great edge for you. Now you double down on defensive end. You can't do that. So you're going down to a C. And then a defensive tackle. Okay, where are your corners? That's the thing. In the 4th round, you should be trying to find corners. Okay, so this is going down to a B. And now, finally, you draft another tackle. If Deont Sims, I don't know how to pronounce it too well. If he works out, and he'll be like right tackle, and then left tackle will be Jackson Cameron. I think that this will be a good draft. I'm gonna give it a B plus. It's not like you guys. Sorry about that. You guys didn't work on needs too well, especially with tackle. Tackle you should have addressed in the 1st round because this is such a deep wide receiver class. But it's still a good grade. B plus is passing. So yeah, Josh.
Okay, so let's get down to the meat and bones of this draft. So first, we have Jamar Chase. I still don't like this move a lot. I mean, it's okay because it is Jamar Chase still. But I believe that you should have gone with Penny here because Penei Sewell is a franchise left tackle. Bengals last year, Joe Burrow was running around for most of the season, then towards ACL and MCL, and now you're wanting him to throw to receivers like T. Higgins and Jamar Chase when he can't even have time in the pocket to find them. So this is still a bad move, but it's not as bad as first thought of. Next, they kind of do a bit of damage control here, and they draft Jackson Carmen, who is a guard from Clemson, but he could be moved to a tackle because he is 6'6", 330. That's some pretty good size for alignment, and especially with protecting Joe Burrow, I think he could probably be very versatile here. So even if you don't believe that your left tackle right now is your left tackle of the future, you could still ship this guy. Still, at least you did some damage control instead of just doing something else. Next, the steal of the draft, in my opinion, Joseph Osai. He is a great left tackle from Texas. He was just rushing the quarterback. He was relentless. This man, he could be the next star in the NFL. You got him in the 3rd round. This is insane. Now, what I'm really wondering is why this guy fell to the 3rd round. Because if I know one thing about the NFL GMs, if your name's not Bill O'Brien, they aren't stupid. There's going to be a reason why this guy fell all the way to the 69th pick of the draft. There has to be something that has happened. So, I don't know who knows that. The media hasn't shown us anything, so this is still a very good pick, in our opinion.
All right. Now we're going to be going on to the Cleveland Browns. All right. I like this draft. I'm gonna take this one off. With their first pick, they got Greg Newsome. He's a great corner. I actually did want him in the 1st round, and he's gonna be really good for Cleveland, especially being with Denzel Ward. I think Cleveland has a really good shot at the Super Bowl this year. And then they get JOK in the next round. This is a good pick because they're investing in defense, and defense is their worst thing that is on their team, which is not even that bad. And then wide receiver and Anthony Schwartz. I can't pronounce his last name. An Auburn wide receiver. I like it. It'll be a good 3rd option because Jarvis is 2nd, Odell is 1st, and hopefully Odell will have a healthy season. So yeah. And then offensive tackle in the 4th round. This is a good pick. I like it. James Hudson, he'll be good for them. And he doesn't even have to start right away because they have a really good offensive line already. So I think that is a really good pick. And then Tommy Tongel, defensive tackle. Okay, this is to replace what's his face? I don't remember it.
Sheldon Richardson?
Yeah, this is to replace Sheldon Richardson, which is pretty late to replace him, but you're going to do well anyway without him. And I think that this guy will play pretty well with Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney rushing the pass. They're going to be good pass rushers. Jeez, I can't talk today. And then, again, 5th round doesn't really matter too much. Does it? Yeah, they didn't really get anybody like that is really going to be a big piece. And I'm going to give this draft a solid A-. I'm still like the Sheldon Richardson. They should have addressed it earlier, especially in the 3rd round instead of taking a wide receiver, but it's all right. It's a really good grade anyway. So where did Josh go?
He's gone.
Okay, I'll hand this one off to you then, Jack.
Okay, so let's go over the Browns draft class. Now, I wasn't kidding when I said the North had some stud draft classes. So let's look at Cleveland's. Greg Newsome at 26. This is a great pick. Newsome is a baller, And there were a lot of places I thought he would not make it to 26. Didn't think he was making it past 23 from the Jets until all the AVT stuff happened and all that. But Newsome is great value here for Cleveland, especially when you have Denzel Ward as your 1. You need a 2. There wasn't a lot of depth in that secondary, and it got a lot better, specifically that back area, linebackers, secondary, all that got better, especially with the next pick, which was JOK. I understand he fell mainly because of a heart issue, I believe, which is concerning, but I don't think he didn't fall as far as, like, a Trey Smith, so I don't think this is as big of a deal as something like that. But JOK is a great linebacker, and he's got a lot of potential. And specifically with the Browns, we see how they address the linebackers and secondary, and they're going to get a lot better. They got John Johnson, Grant Delpit. This secondary and linebacker core is actually looking good, and the Browns may be one of the most complete teams in the entire league. Let's get into the next pick, which is Anthony Schwartz. This is a pretty solid pick. Looking at the receivers, there's Odell and Jarvis at the top, but Rashad Higgins, Peoples-Jones, there's a lot of depth guys. I think Anthony Schwartz got a slightly higher ceiling than those guys, so he's going to be interesting moving forward. Now, when we look down, they got some O-line, some D-line, some linebackers, DB, and a running back. None of these guys are going to be like super impact. My only knock on this draft, much like Zach, is no defensive tackle to replace Richardson. And I think Larry Ogunjobi is also gone, so that's no defensive tackle. You do have a strong edge presence, though. But overall, the Browns have become one of the most talented teams in the league, which is something crazy to think if you were sitting here like 3-4 years ago. But when you look what they did to upgrade their team, it was massive, and I'm so excited to see what they do. But overall, killer draft by the Browns. Not one of my 2 A+, but you'll get a high A from me. So A for the Browns. I'm not sure if Josh is in yet, but if you are, what are your thoughts?
I can go get him from his room if you want me. We got Josh back. Let's go. All right, Josh, say your Bengal. What?
Woo!
All right, Josh, say your Bengals take and Cleveland because you were just finishing up with your Bengals.
Okay. So the last of my Bengals take, if the Wi-Fi does not decide to go out again, this. So Cameron Sample, I don't think that you should have double dipped on a defensive end. I believe that you should have gone with some kind of defensive back or something at this pick instead of him. And then next you have Tyler Chavon. And this seems like a good pick. And it seems like somebody who could really help DJ Reader, Larry Ogunjobi. I butchered that name. I mean, not as good as what I think, could be here. And maybe not the best player to select, but I can see the upside in this player. So, good pick. And then finally, before I get to the kicker, which you shouldn't have drafted, let's just keep it at that. Shouldn't have drafted that high. He seems like a really good kicker, but you shouldn't have drafted him that. So that's my take for the 5th round.
What's your grade?
K. Smith. So this is an offensive tackle that he could be a good right tackle, but I think that this may have a problem with injuries because he did have an undisclosed season-ending injury in 2020 for the East Carolina Pirates. So this may be a pick that doesn't work out just because of injuries. I believe that he has all the talent in the world, able to do it. It's just, can he stay on the field? So I should do my Browns take next, right?
Did you say your grade?
Oh, yeah, my grade. My grade for this draft is a B+. It could have been worse, but it also could have been better in some aspects, like picking Penny. So, which take should I do now?
Browns.
Browns, okay. Well, let's go to the Cleveland Browns. So first, we are starting off hot with Greg Newsome. This seems like a really player, especially with how bad the secondary was for the Chiefs. And not saying that their number one secondary was bad. It was just all the other secondary. So this is a very good pick. We're starting off pretty hot. It's starting at a good A right now. Then you get JOK, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. This guy is a beast. And especially helping with Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney, this guy is going to be a threat for the. So you guys are running at A plus. Next, you draft a receiver to help your core of Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham. I think that this is really, he is the fastest player in this draft, and especially coming from Auburn. I think that this is a very good pick. You're writing at a good A, maybe an A minus, maybe an A plus, depending on how your next picks go. Next, you draft a tackle from Cincinnati. Cincinnati had an amazing season this year. And I think that James Hudson is going to be really, really good. And he's a good rotation piece where he doesn't have to be put in right away. So he's a pretty good rotation piece. And finally, drafted defensive tackle Tommy Fugaye from Ohio State. Now, one of the big things about this draft that kind of makes me a bit scared was how long it took you to get to defensive tackle in this draft. So that's going to bring it down. But without that, you wait. But instead, I'm going to be giving you A minus for the draft. It's still an amazing draft. Just get to invest in defensive tackle earlier. Okay.
All right, did you finish up with your take?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, now we're on Ravens, and I'm going to hand this one to Jack.
The Ravens. Okay, let's see how. This one's interesting because the Ravens are never going to blow you away with a draft most times. Sometimes they, not exactly like the Raiders, but they have their own board, they have their own opinions, and a lot of times those opinions pay off. So I take that in mind with a lot of Ravens draft, but they open up with a home run in Bateman. Bateman is my wide receiver 4, only behind the big 3, and they got him at like wide receiver 5 because Kadarius Toney went at 20. So this is great value if you're Baltimore. You're going to get a nice, solid, different type of receiver from the normal ones. Like you had Duvernay, Hollywood Brown, those Sammy Watkins. Those guys are about like speed, but I think Bateman's a more physical guy. And I think overall that's going to be a key attribute that Baltimore's been missing on the outside with wide receivers. Next we go to Adafe away. It was like John or Joseph away, but he changed it, I think. This is an edge rusher. It says linebacker, but I think he's supposed to play edge rusher. I don't know a lot about him, but I can't fault them for replacing them. This is their Matt Judon replacement. And Yannick went to the Raiders, Judon to New England. They needed someone to take that role, and I think they have a lot of faith in him coming into the first. Would have gone Tryon here, but this guy could be solid and has a high ceiling. Next, we move on to guard Ben Cleveland out of Georgia. Nice guy, another solid guard. Marshall Yanda was the last like elite right guard they had, so they made. Hopefully, the goal is for this guy to be a resemblance of a replacement, even though it's hard to replace someone like that. Then you double dipped on receiver. You got some cornerback depth in the 3rd and 4th. That's a pretty nice value. Here comes one of the steals of the draft in Shaun Wade. I understand he struggled, he did, but this guy was viewed as a first-round pick last year. And if the Ravens can somehow hone this in and develop him properly, I think they could have a super big steal here in the 5th. And then, last but not least, we see fullback Ben Mason. Now, this is a fullback, so I'm not going to get too blown away, but this is a very solid fullback based on what I've seen. I looked into him because I know the Jets needed some sort of fullback role, and he has got the potential to be one of the elite fullbacks, one of the elite 3 fullbacks that are in the entire league. But overall, this draft is good. I would have liked to address safety. I have some questions about the safety specifically. I like the corner group, especially now when you added the depth of Shaun Wade and you got Brandon Stevens. That's good, but I would have liked to see a safety. But A minus Baltimore, you can go home with happy because I like this draft a lot. Would have liked to see safety maybe, But other than that, no knocks, A-. What are your thoughts, Josh?
Okay, so first we have Rashad Bateman. This guy is amazing. He is just lethal and can help this receiver. A bunch of people criticizing the Ravens for not getting receivers this year. I think that they did their job. I mean, you got Rashad Watkins and Marquise Hollywood Brown. And also with your tight end, Mark Andrews, this will be a lethal receiving core this year. So Lamar is going to have plenty of targets to throw to. So don't you worry, Ravens fans. You guys are going to have a great receiving core this year. So we're good, eh? Then you got one of the people who shot up draft boards because of his blazing fast speed, Jason Oweh, who has changed his name. Fortunately, I cannot pronounce that name, so I'm just going to be going by J until I learn to say that correctly. So he is listed as a linebacker, but he seems like he's going to be a very good edge for the team, and especially with losing. Why is English so hard today? Especially with losing Yannick Ngakoue and Matt Judon, two separate teams. This is an amazing pick, especially with his relentless and his blazing fast speed. Those are the two things that look amazing about this prospect. He seems insane from his highlight reel. Like this guy, he is going to be great for this team. Next, we have Ben Cleveland, a special Yonda replacement. His nickname is Big Country. He is 6'6", 343 pounds. He can freaking bulldoze people. And this guy is probably the next big thing in Baltimore. This is an amazing pick right here. You're replacing Yard. He's not going to be a star that – he may be a star, but I don't think that he's going to be one of those big stars of the guard. He's not going to be a Quentin Nelson. He's probably going to be a good guard, a good solid guard. But I believe that he will protect Lamar, and Lamar will have time to throw to these amazing receivers that he has. Next, they go defensive back. I like it. It's very good, especially with Brandon Stevens from SMU. And this seems pretty cool because this guy catches how running backs work because he was a former running back at UCLA and then converted to safety at SMU. So I think that this guy could be really, really helpful, especially on special teams in his first couple of years. This guy seems to have really good speed and also just I think he's going to be a really good blitzing cornerback if you need somebody to blitz or you need somebody to chase after the running back. I think he's your man. And this is a great pick right here. So next we have Tylan Wallace. I really like this pick. He is a great receiver, and he provides great depth for this Ravens team. With you already having Bateman, Wallace is just a great person to pair with Bateman and just help you. And even his draft report, Todd McShay of ESPN said he's 5'11", but he plays like he's 6'3". So this is a great pick by you. So good job on that. And finally, you have Shaun Wade, the steal of the in the first round last year, but now has fallen all the way to pick 160 of round 5. This is a great pick. Simple as that. Good corner. You know, it will really help you here. And especially, Shaun Wade, he had a down year. So I think that this will be good. Corners are known to be really, really good, especially one named Richard Sherman, who I like to always go back to. But I feel like this is going to be a great corner right here. So, Baltimore, you had a really good draft, and I believe it deserves an A+. Zach, what are your thoughts?
All right, with Rashad Bateman, it's a good receiver. I think he's like the 4th best wide receiver or 5th. I think it goes like the top 3 and then Rondale Moore and then Rashad Bateman or the other way around. Oweh, I like this guy. He's really good. He's going to be a good linebacker for them, and I think he also can play edge, and he's very fast. So I think that he'll do really well in the Ravens, and this is to replace Matt Judon, which Jack and Josh have already said. So, yeah. And then they get a guard named Ben Cleveland, which, yeah, he's pretty big, and he was all SEC first team he was first team SEC, and then he was second team All-American. So this guy can play football pretty well, and he's had pretty good seasons for Georgia, and he's only allowed a few sacks. Yeah, so I think that this guy will be pretty good. A defensive back, Brandon Stephen. I don't know. He'll be good, hopefully. He's forced a few fumbles, and I don't know enough about him, but hopefully he's solid. I like the DB pick though. They doubled down on wide receiver, Tylan Wallace. Now this guy could have gone in the second round or early third, but he made it all the way to fourth, so that's just pretty good. He seems really polished coming out of Oklahoma State. He's a senior, and he's had pretty good seasons. So, yeah. And then finally, I'm going to talk about this because it's a corner. I really want this corner. Shaun Wade. Shaun Wade is a really good corner unless he is going against good receivers, which is all the NFL. So, yeah, I don't think Shaun Wade will do well his first few seasons, but he'll actually turn it around. But it's hard to adjust. It's hard to adjust corners, but I don't think Shaun Wade will do that well, but he'll just be a good second corner. So, yeah. All right. We're going on to the Steelers. Josh.
Okay. So, let me just get back to that draft. I'll be in 1 second. So, with the Steelers draft, they were starting off hot with Nadja Harris. Now, I believe that this was a good pick. Just one problem. You guys don't have a line. Villanueva left. Pouncey retired. So, Najee's probably going to be taking a lot of the load. But I think this would have been a pick maybe for somebody to help your line. You didn't really address it until the third round. So this is kind of weird, but this is right now a good A because Najee's a good back. He's a good power back. I feel like he could probably power through some people and get some yards. He seems like a Frank Gore type player, or even maybe a Marshawn Lynch. So, he's got the strength. Got a lot of strength. So next we have Pat Freiermuth from Penn State. This is a really good pick right here because you've really needed a tight end. You never really had a tight end in the 2000 or in the 2010s, really in that run that you guys had. You haven't really had a tight end that you could really call good, but Pat, he's really good. I mean, 6'5", 251, and he seems like kind of a Rob Gronkowski in his playing style. I mean, oh yeah, I forgot you guys have Eric Ebron. He's gonna, have a year to sit, so my bad, I forgot you guys had Eric Ebron, but he's gonna have some time to develop, and I feel like make him even more lethal. And especially then, you aren't locked down to Ebron's deal, and you can have somebody, if Ebron's doing well, or even if you guys just want to go in a different way, then you have some trade bait. So this can really go any way that you want. Next, you address your line with Kendrick Green. This is pretty good. He's 6'2", 305, about the size of a guard. Good guard. Seems like he's had some pretty good seasons, and so that's pretty good. And next you draft Dan Moore out of Texas A&M. This feels like your Villanueva replacement. I don't feel like he's going to be, whenever he first goes onto the field, I feel like it's going to take him a little bit. But, with being 6'6", 311, and the 12th best tackle in the class, I feel like you may get a really good tackle down the road if he's developed correctly. Then you get linebacker Buddy Johnson. Now this will really help your defense here, especially at the ending of the year. Also, this could be your Devin Bush replacement if need be. Because the whole thing is, this guy is 6 foot, 299 pounds, had 85 tackles in the 2020 season with 4 quarterback sacks. Some pretty good stats for a linebacker. And I just feel like this is kind of, if Bush doesn't work out, you guys can start Buddy Johnson, and it feels like just right now. So everything else seems pretty good. So I will give this draft a B.
All right.
Just because you guys didn't address linemen, I feel like with Villanueva and stuff leaving, should have addressed your line before the second round, or when you did in the third round. I feel like you should have done it before then and not after. So that's going to get your score down, but it's still a very solid draft. So that's a good B. And Zach, what's your take?
Oh, shoot.
Zach.
Najee first. It's a good running back. It's just I would rather go offensive line there. So I like the pick, but you could have gone a better running back later in the draft. Then Pat Freiermuth, you are not going to use him as a blocking tight end. This is not going to really work out because Ben needs time to throw, and this is not. O-lineman. Finally, you start drafting O-lineman. But he'll be good, hopefully. If he doesn't develop, then this pick will look horrible on you, but it's a little too late for O-line. And then the fourth round, you get a tackle of A&M. It's a little too late. And then linebacker out of Texas A&M. Yeah, you need linebacker help if you guys can't re-sign Devin Bush. So I don't count 5th round, 6th round, 7th round because those maybe the punter. It's a good. You guys got a punter. But I'm gonna have to give this I'm gonna give it a C plus. They did not get needs that are actual needs. They just got the players that were what they thought was what they needed. So I'm giving this a C plus. Jack.
The Steelers draft is interesting to say the least, because it's one that in a lot of cases a lot of stuff kind of makes sense and a lot of stuff doesn't. Let's start out with 24th overall pick Nadja Harris. Now, elite player, most likely going to be an elite back, but I feel like a lot of the knocks on the Steelers was run blocking on the O-line was not great, and they couldn't really establish a run game. That's why Ben passed 60, 50 times a game sometime. So it's like, okay, you got the running back, but you didn't solve the reason why the last running back didn't work out in the first place. So a little concerning, but I'll carry on. Freiermuth is a baller. Don't sleep on Freiermuth. I think he's got a legit chance to take Ebron's job if he wants to. Freiermuth is the future starting tight end, so I'm not going to knock him too much. I think that it's a nice weapon for Big Ben. Let's move on to the third round. Kendrick Green, this is a solid guard. I have to assume he's going to start at center just because Pouncey retired, so if I was a guessing man, I guess he started on center. He put a lot of faith in a third-round pick, but you never know. I'm pretty high on Kendrick Green, and I think he's an interesting prospect. Next, you go to the fourth round for Dan Moore. I think that's an offensive tackle, not a defensive one, but either way, you're making an effort to protect the quarterback, I guess. It's a little late, but okay. Then you get the linebacker for assurance because Avery Williamson is on a one-year deal. You get a DN because Cam Hayward's getting up there. Another linebacker, safety, punter. Okay. I'll give this draft a B. I'm a little concerned about losing Alejandro Villanueva to the Ravens. I'm not going to lie. That's really concerning to me. A team that didn't really have a strong O-line to begin with going into the season with losing Pouncey is going to lose another lineman to a rival at that. And he's not even playing left tackle for them. He's playing right tackle. I'm a little nervous about this draft class, but you did work on O-line in your defense, but is Dan Moore Jr. the starting left tackle from day one? How good is Kendrick Green going to be out of the gate? This team is they feel like they're trying to go all in by getting Nadja Harris, a luxury pick in the first, and then Freiermuth, another pretty luxury pick. A tight end that high is kind of a luxury to do, but you feel like they're going all in, but then you look at the line and it's I don't know. I don't know if this line's going to even hold up with Big Ben. So they're sending me mixed messages here, but overall, I like the talent added in this draft, so that's going to give it a B. I just have some questions about positional value when it comes to this draft.
All right, now we're on the next division, and it's going to be the NFC North, and the Lions are going to be up first, and I'm going to hand this one off to Jack.
Ooh, the Detroit Lions absolutely killed this draft in every way possible. They did exactly what a team like the Lions needed to do. Let's start out with Penei Sewell. Home run pick. I understand you got Taylor Decker, but who says he can't move to the right side? Penei Sewell's a franchise left tackle. Come on, he's talented. You're building up the trenches. I like it. That's a good start. Next, you move on to the second round pick. The best DT on the board, Levi Owuzurike. That's his name. This is a talented D lineman. You got to remember, the Lions defense under Patricia, it's got a lot of aging Patriots players, not a lot of youngness, and they add that here with Owuzurike. He's a very good defensive tackle. I just don't know how to say his name. But once again, a nice add. Then you go for another best player available in Alam McNeil, another pretty solid defensive tackle. It's a third-round pick. It's not as... Oh, wait, it's a second-round pick. It's not as good as Owuzurike pick value-wise, but it's still a solid pick as a whole. And then you get into one of my bigger steals with Milo Fondue. Milo Fondue this late is kind of ridiculous. This was the tail end of the third round. It's a steal. This is a solid cornerback. I've seen him go as high as the early second, and they got him way later than that. Overall, great value with Milo Fondue, and I think he's got a lot of potential moving forward. Then you move down, you got Amara St. Brown, a very solid receiver. It's when you're in the fifth round, this isn't a amazing home run or anything, but this guy's got value, and in a receiving room that includes Tyrell Williams, and that's about it. I don't know who else they even have in that room. There's not a lot is the point. No Kenny Golladay, no Marvin Jones. I'm not sure if Danny Amendola is even playing for them anymore. So that means Amara St. Brown is going to have a big opportunity here. So I think solid pick. Then you move down. You got a linebacker, solid linebacker, and then you got some running back depth. So overall, this is my second A+ I give out. Just because when you look at Detroit, they did exactly what a rebuilding team needed to do, and that was take best available at any sort of position of need. And they killed it. They did that perfectly. They got work on the O-line, the D-line. And this doesn't mean Detroit's going to make noise next year or anything. They're going to struggle. It's Jared Goff. It's still a new team. It's a rebuilding team. It's not the point. They did a great job adding talent, and it didn't really matter where they needed it. They just added it because they needed a lot of it. And they started to add it. They're moving in the right direction. Home run draft here for the Lions. A+ for me. What are your thoughts, Zach?
For the first pick, Penei Sewell, that is a very good pick for them. I think that he'll just be a great tackle. Now, will they win games because of Penei Sewell? Probably not, no. But will Jared Goff get sacked less? Yes. So I don't know if they'll actually win too many games with Penei Sewell, but this is not a flashy draft. It's not supposed to be. Now, Levi Owuzurike. This is a great, I think it's Levi Owusu. Yeah, so I'm going to call him that. He's a great defensive tackle. Sometimes I have him going in the first round. He's a really good tackle, and I have him second best. So they got a great value in the early second. So good on them for that. Then they double down defensive tackle. It's okay. Lions are in this rebuilding stage where I'm okay with two defensive tackles. if instead of like a team that's winning now, because they always have time, so it's okay. And then corner, Efedi Meh. I'm not gonna try to pronounce his last name, but this guy, it was the weirdest thing. He was either gonna be restricted in the first round, second round, maybe even third, like late third. Like he was moving around draft boards so much, and he is a very good corner. And I think that he'll do really well with the Lions, especially next to Okuda, which I think he'll have a better season this year, judging because he did get injured and he only had like one pick. So, yeah. And then they get wide receiver Armando Reyes St. Brown, which Galladay's gone. Everyone's gone. All that receiver core is gone. Stafford's gone. This could be a really good wide receiver because he will be playing probably first option or second option. So I think that he'll do really well right now. And finally, that's it. My draft grade is I'm going to give it an A. I wish that they addressed receiver earlier, but I like the picks, especially at the value that they got him at. And they have so many needs that it's okay. I'm going to give them an A. Josh?
Okay, so first, I have Penei Sewell on this draft. So this is actually a pretty good pick. I was expecting him to go to Bulls, but for him to fall here, you get a franchise left tackle with no franchise quarterback. That's amazing. So that means that when you draft a franchise quarterback, you're going to have a franchise left tackle to protect that franchise quarterback. So this is just a great pick right here. You are starting high with an A+. And next, you draft Levi Owusu-Ricky. This guy is a beast. A defensive tackle who came from Washington is really, really good. And I really think he could really do wonders for this team. Next, you have Alan McNeil. Pretty pick. You know, 2 defensive tackles. I usually don't like this. I feel like there's other needs to address. But with this one, I'll give it a pass because he seems like a really good defensive tackle with being second team AP All-American and All-ACC. He seems like a good defensive tackle, and this seems like a really good pick. So you're high A+. Now your best pick of the draft. This is one of the people I want the Texans to get. But I feel like he's going to go next to Jeff Okuda. His name is Afatu Mele Fondue. So, yeah, that's going to be very fun for everyone to pronounce. But this guy is insane. He is 6'3", 205 pounds with a 42-inch vertical. That's great for a cornerback. And he put up a performance in the Senior Bowl. He racked up 88 career tackles in college. He just did 19 passes defended and 3 interceptions. This is just an amazing pick right here. So you are riding high with a steal at A+. Finally, let's go to Amon-Ra St. Brown. This guy, he is a great receiver from USC. And this guy, he seems like he will fit well with the people who are added by the Lions in Brashad Perryman, Tyrell Williams, Khalif Raymond, and Damian Radley. All of them seem like pretty good receivers. And I feel like this guy will help that receiving core become better. I've seen a lot of his highlights. He looks really good. He seems to just know exactly where to be at what time. And just he knows what he's doing, and he looks great while doing it. So, Amon-Ra St. Brown, that is a great pick. Finally, to end off this, we got Derek Barnes, linebacker, Purdue. This is a great guy to have, and his career stats are great. He racked 226 tackles and 10.5 sacks through his college career. Just an amazing player. A tough-nosed linebacker who will do anything to get to the quarterback. I just feel like this is a great draft overall. So you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to give you guys an A+. Woo! Good job. And hopefully you are doing well next year.
Okay. So did everyone say their take?
Yes.
All right. Now we're going to go on to the Minnesota Vikings, and I'll let Josh take this one.
So, the Minnesota Vikings first selected Christian Darrisaw, offensive tackle, Virginia Tech. This is a great pick right here, especially this seems about where Darrisaw, and if you haven't really seen it, the Vikings really need to help with their line. So this is a great pick to have here, especially with Darrisaw. He is just a great tackle. So I feel like he would fit very well in the system. Next, we go all the way to the third round to Kellen Monde. I am so upset because I wanted Kellen Monde so badly for the Texans, but we got Davis Mills, which you guys watch our other video. What I think about that pick. So Kellen Monde, he is a great quarterback, especially with winning MVP in the Senior Bowl this year. He put up some insane stats while he was at Texas A&M. Nothing to blow you away, but he looked good enough to where you could see how pro-ready he was and stuff that could transfer over into the NFL. Now, there is one thing about him. He is from Jimbo Fisher's system, who did create Famous Jameis. So, that's a little bit of him right there. But I feel like this could be a really good player if developed correctly, especially with sitting under Kirk Cousins for a year. I believe that he's going to do well in this league. Next, we have Chaz Surratt. He is a really, really good linebacker. And he just seems like he could do wonders for the Vikings, especially with them maybe not having Danielle Hunter. This could help their defense. I know that Danielle Hunter is an edge and he's a backer, but they're going to need help wherever they can, and this will really help bolster up their defense, this pick. Next, you have Wyatt Davis, a guy who was projected to go in the first round, but due to injuries, fell to this spot. I feel like if he can stay healthy, you got guard and a tackle in this draft, especially with Wyatt Davis being 6'3", 315. This is a great guard right here from Ohio State. His skills are amazing. Just, he needs to stay healthy. That's the big thing with that pick. Next, you have Pat Jones, defensive end from Pittsburgh. This seems great to make sure that you can get your edge situation all dealt. I feel like this was a bit too low to deal with your edge situation, but it's better late than never. So that will get you a little bit of a knock on your draft grade, but not too much where it's going to hurt it enough. Then you have Kenney Wingwoo, I think that name is, a running back and returner. So really good returning teams to, well, especially if running a 4.3 240 and 65 yards being his, or he had 2 65 yards or longer returns. So that seems pretty good. 5.6 yards per carry, pretty good. So especially with a running back room of Dalvin Cook, he won't be thrown into the fire and will probably be a really good returner for this team. And for the next couple picks, you guys did well. You picked up a safety, you picked up a defensive end, and a wide receiver. So you've done pretty well for yourself. I feel like this is a great draw. So I will give you an A minus for this draft. Pretty good, and you did what you needed to do. I hand it off to Jack for his take.
The Minnesota Vikings. This draft is interesting because I really like it, especially the top. So you're sitting there at 14, and you know your biggest need is left tackle by far. You lost Riley Reef in the offseason to the Bengals, though I don't know what side he played on. That's a tackle loss. That's the point. And you see Christian Darrisaw and Alex Leatherwood. So when the Jets come calling and they offer you 2 third-round picks to go up for a guard, and you know they won't take a left tackle, they have Becton, you take that deal, and you get to move back spots and gain 2 third-round picks. And thanks to a little bit of Raiders shenanigans, you get left tackle 3 in the entire draft in Christian Darrisaw. Now that is value right there. That is exactly how you play a draft board, and they executed it perfectly. So far, home run. Next, you go to Kellen Monde. This guy, sky's the limit. Heard a lot of good things about him, and the good news is he's not going to have to start immediately. Kirk Cousins is not an injury-prone guy. He's going to be able to sit a season or 2 if they want him to, and truly get that chance to sort of develop and sort of sink it up, let it sink all in, and then until he's ready. So overall, that's great value there, especially you basically created Kellen Monde and still got the left tackle you wanted. So far, really good. Next, you move on to Chaz Surratt. I like the pick. Solid linebacker, and you don't know what's going on with Anthony Barr. He was out for the year, and he's 29 now. Eric Kendricks is a Pro Bowler, but what's going to happen with Anthony Barr moving forward? You needed to address that. Next, you created another great pick in Wyatt Davis. Other than the injuries, this guy is one of the better guards in the draft. And I think overall, you got him in the 3rd round. This is pretty good value. If he can stay healthy, he's got a chance to be a franchise guard for a long time. So overall, another really good pick that is basically created out of thin air. And next, you go to another 3rd round pick, and you got Patrick Jones. Now, this is a pretty underrated edge rusher in perspective of everything. And overall, I really like the pick. You have Danielle Hunter, but Everson Griffin is gone. Who's going to be your second edge rusher? We know you got Michael Pierce coming back out from the opt-outs, who's going to be D-tackle, and then you also got Dalvin Tomlinson in the offseason. So the D-line is fine, but you need that true second edge rusher, and with a little bit of seasoning, Patrick Jones has potential to be that true second pass rusher for you guys. So another solid pick. Then you got a running back, safety, D-end, wide receiver, tight end, DT. Okay, I'm going to give this an A. I'll give it an A. This is a solid draft. The reason this is an A is the late rounds, I would have liked a secondary player, some sort of secondary. I get Carmen, but a safety is there. I guess that's okay, but I would have liked a little bit more addressing the secondary. But overall, you basically not only got a franchise left tackle, but you created Kellen Monde and Wyatt Davis at the same time of getting that franchise left tackle. They moved the board perfectly, and overall, I think they did a great job this draft. What are your thoughts, Zach?
All right. So with the first pick, Christian Darrisaw, I like it. Christian Darrisaw is the top 3 tackle in this draft class. So they got him at number 23, and that was a really good value. Then next, Kellen Monde. This is going to be replacing Kirk Cousins because Kirk Cousins is not a good quarterback, and I think that he'll take a whole year, maybe 2, to develop and get it into the NFL. But if he starts balling out in preseason, like he might be doing really well in regular season if they want to start him. And then Chaz Surratt. This is a really good linebacker out of North Carolina, and I think that he'll do really well for the Vikings because Anthony Barr is getting kind of old. Then Wyatt Davis out of Ohio State. This is gonna really help because O-line is a huge need, and I don't think teams like the Bengals really know about like how big an O-line can change a team. So then we get to Patrick Jones. Patrick Jones I had going in the first round I think 5 or 6 months ago before like injuries and stuff like that. But he is a good pass rusher, and I think that he can become a solid pass rusher if Danielle Hunter doesn't come back. All right, with Keyshawn Nigwa. I don't understand this. You have Dalvin Cook. He'll do really well. He's not a return man either because he's just not a return man. So I don't understand that pick too much. And then defensive back out of California. I mean, yeah, it's a good pick. He might be a good safety for them. Uh, Harrison Smith is getting pretty old. Um, and then defensive end Julius Roberts. I don't care about how Florida State produced Jameis Winston. That is different. This is a whole different position. And I don't care what they say. Asante Samuel's coming out of this. I think that this guy will do really well, and again, he is with Patrick Jones now, and he'll be really good. So, and then finally, I want to talk about this guy. Their 6th-round pick, and Jason Twyman. I had him at the 3rd best defensive tackle in this class, and he fell all the way to the 6th round. I like him a lot as a player, so I think that they'll do really well. All right, so with the Bears now, I'm going to take this one because I really like this Bears draft. So the Bears traded up for – oh, I forgot my grade. They're going to get an A-. That's solid. Okay, the Bears traded up to get Justin Fields. I love it. This is a really good first pick, and they were aggressive, and I think that they did really well with this first pick. All right. Then they got Tavon Jenkins, a guy who could have gone in the 1st round, but he's gonna have to develop, and he's gonna have to sit for a little bit. So that is a little bit of a problem, but he's a very good tackle if he can produce on the NFL level. So I still have their draft as an A. Okay. Now, they draft in the 5th round because of the trade up. They get another offensive tackle. I think it's fine. They double down. It's okay. So I'm going to move it down a little because it's still doubling down. So I'll give it an A. Any other picks like notable that I want to mention? Not really. Okay. It's going to be I'm going to have an A-. They didn't pick too much. And none of the picks in like the 6th and 5th round really like were good. So I'm gonna just have it as A-. So A-. So it's okay. It could get better. So yeah. Jarrett.
The Bears, I think, did a really good job. So the first pick comes in Justin Fields. Now, if you're Ryan Pace, you know what you needed to do. You have Trubisky as your franchise guy 4 years ago. Didn't work out, as we know. And you know that you need to do something big or you're probably fired. You also know that your team rival, the Minnesota Vikings, that later came out in a report, they were going to take Fields. And I have a feeling that Pace knew that they were probably interested if a guy like Fields fell. And just so happened that Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and Trey Lance all went before him, and then the Broncos, for whatever reason, didn't go Fields. So you're sitting there, it's like, oh, shoot, we got QB3 in the entire draft, QB2 arguably in some boards, here at 11. Let's make a move. I get you gave up a first-round pick, but at the end of the day, this is great value here. You're able to hop up, stop the Vikings from getting him, getting your franchise guy, and getting a guy that really shouldn't have been there in the first place. So next, let's move on to Chavon Jenkins. I think this is another home run pick overall. I think he does have a little bit of injury concerns, being the reason he fell out of the first. But overall, I think Tavon Jenkins, he's got a lot of potential. He is very dangerous. There's a lot of good stuff about him. And overall, I believe the goal is for him to eventually become the franchise left tackle. Not sure if that's going to happen immediately, but I think at some point that is going to happen. So I'd give this another great pick. And then you go down here, another offensive tackle, pretty solid, I guess. Then you go Khalil Herbert. I think I'm not sure what they're going to do with Khalil Herbert, to be honest, because they have, Tariq Cohen, but I guess running back depth, that's nothing to go crazy about. But Daz Newsome could be. Daz Newsome's got a lot of potential coming out of UNC, and I think he's an interesting one to keep an eye on. Next, let's go down. Let's see what else they got. Corner, anyone notable? A DT from BYU. Okay. I'm giving this one a high A-. I think the 2 top picks really just, there's not a lot below those 2 going on, but it doesn't matter. You got the 2 top picks here that really just take this draft to another level, especially all the stuff with Fields. So overall, A-. You address some line. The The late rounds are okay. They're not great. But overall, solid draft for you, Bears. A-. What are your thoughts, Josh?
Okay, so I'm just going to be going over the first two picks because they didn't really draft notable in the next couple rounds. So first, you got Justin Fields, the steal of this draft. So this is obviously an A-plus move. Ryan Pace, you knew that your job was on the line, so you drafted another quarterback. The MVP, Mitch Trubisky, did not work. So you decided to draft Justin Fields. Great, and you knew that the Vikings were probably going to draft Fields if they had the chance, but you didn't give them this, and you drafted him yourself. A-plus move right there. Next, we're going to go down to Tam Jenkins. He is really good lineman. You know, he's a very productive lineman with a bit of a mean streak in him. So I feel like he's going to start out as a right tackle, but then he's going to move over to left tackle whenever they feel that the time is right. When Matt feels that the time is right. So with these picks, I'm going to rate your draft a good A. So you get an A. Good job. And the rest of the picks, I mean, if they work out, good job. But you hit on your few, and that's what matters. So that is an A from me.
All right. Josh, you finished your take?
Yep.
Okay. With our final team, the Green Bay Packers, I'm going to hand this one off to Jack.
All right, Green Bay Packers, I like what they did. Now, Eric Stokes here at 29. This is, I would have gone with one of the Moores here, whether it's Elijah or Rondale, but I get it. You got to realize and understand that Tom Brady isn't going anywhere yet. And after what happened in the NFC Championship game, I can 100% justify the pick of a corner here, especially outside of Jair Alexander. What's there? This could be a steal in the future, and he's got a lot of potential moving forward. So, yeah, you know you got to work on the secondary. You can't let Tom Brady walk back into Lambeau and burn you with Scotty Miller again. So, overall, I get it. Justified. I like the pick. Next, let's move on to Josh Myers. This is another solid pick. You know you lost All-Pro center Corey Linsley in free agency to the Chargers, so you get another potential All-Pro center. This is a second-round center, and he is a second-team All-American, so that's good news. Not to mention he comes out of Ohio State. They got some pretty strong line prospects, at least this year. But overall, I think Josh Myers has got potential, and it's the right idea here. Next, let's move on to the third round. You get Amari Rogers. This is another solid pick. All you have, other than Devontae Adams, what do you have? Alan Lazard, MVS. Those guys aren't impressing anyone away. I think Amari Rogers has a lot more of a ceiling moving forward than those guys. So overall, you're helping Aaron Rodgers here. That's good after all the stuff came out. Fourth round, you go for Royce Newman. This is an interesting one. I've heard some things about him, and maybe he could slide in to be a right tackle or guard. He says he's a hybrid. I have a feeling he's developmental if he's a hybrid, but time will tell with Royce Newman. That could be a solid pick again. Moving forward, see any other notable names here. D-line, okay. Another corner. Another tackle/guard. Linebacker, running back. Okay, so this draft's getting a B+ from me. There was a lot of work. I like the opening, Eric Stokes. And then Josh Myers really brings this home. Big fan of Josh Myers. And then Amari Rogers, you get a true, hopefully a number 2 receiver next to Devontae Adams for once. And overall, after all the stuff came out about Aaron Rodgers, you still went corner in the first round, but look, you got a center, you got a wide receiver, you got another high-end tackle/guard, and then in the later rounds, you even went for another hybrid tackle/guard. So you're making an effort. My only knock is I think I would have preferred receiver there, but I completely get it, so it's not going to take off too many points. So overall, you're going to get a high-ish B+, knocking on the A- door. Solid draft here out of Green Bay. What are your thoughts, Zach?
All right. With Eric Stokes, I like it. He has a lot of speed, and he probably won't get dusted by Scotty Miller in the conference championship if Aaron Rodgers stays. Now, that is a big if because he is really mad. So, yeah. Then Josh Myers, he's a great center, and he's going to be replacing Corey Linsley because he signed with the Chargers. So if Josh Myers works out, this will be a good pickup. But who's going to be your quarterback again? Because Aaron Rodgers might be gone. I don't think he'll protect Jordan Love or Aaron Rodgers. And then finally, wide receiver, Omari Rogers. Not finally. I still have another round after this. Omari Rogers is a very good prospect, and Davante Adams might leave if I keep mentioning this Aaron Rodgers stuff, but this is the biggest thing because if they don't have him, they don't make playoffs. And Amari Rogers could be a replacement for Davante Adams or Alan Lazard. So this is going to be a very interesting idea. And then finally, Royce Newman, a tackle/guard, so he can play either position and he'll do really well. He's only allowed 2 sacks in his whole career, so that he'll be a really good tackle or guard for them. And then, is there anybody else I really want to mention? Nope. Okay, well, I'll give this draft a B+, and it could be worse if Aaron Rodgers, again, is not playing, and that does affect how some of them play. So, yeah. It's a solid draft. It's just, I don't know. Josh?
Okay, so first you take Eric Stokes. I like this pick. I mean, I really wish he would have gone receiver like more here, but I could see it because Kevin King, he got burnt. Everyone saw the memes. I mean, you probably watching all saw the memes of Kevin King getting burnt more than a s'more on a camp out. So I get it. You know, you need a speedy corner to cover somebody like Scotty Miller because that's just where the league's going. They're going with small corners to defend against these small receivers. So this is a great pick right here. Not anything to write home about, but still a great pick. So next you select Josh Myers. Seems pretty solid. He defended Justin Fields, and I feel like he's just a great center from Ohio State, and I feel like that's a great second-round pick. Then we got Omari Rogers, a really good slot guy, and I feel like he would do well with Davante Adams and Alan Lazard. And I just feel like with his speed, I feel like he could bring up to that receiving core. So that's a great pick. And finally, we got Royce Newman. So Bakhtiari, he tore his ACL. So Royce Newman seems like a great replacement for him. Maybe by the end of the season, you guys can start putting him in. But he seems like a really good tackle out of Ole Miss, tackle/guard. So just a great draft in general, and I will give you guys a B+.
All right, that does it for our video today. If you liked it, what should they do, Josh?
If you like what you saw here, don't forget to... Let me just balance these out. Hit that like button, punch that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell to always be informed about the newest Frontline Football videos. Because when you hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, you are Frontline Football fan base. What is the Frontline Football fan base? Frontline Football fan base on all their news season and off season. And you know, they're just always making sure that they're up to date because they watch Frontline Football. Now, we may not be doing news, but we're giving you draft grades. This is unfortunately the last one of the draft grades. So we will see you next time after the 2022 NFL Draft. So now we're going to be starting to head into a lot more things. So don't worry. Don't you go anywhere. We're probably going to go back to news, but we're also going to be doing predictions for every single week, going in on every single game. We're not going to be like those other channels trying to give you just their picks and couple reasons. No, we will give you analysis on why we think our picks are correct. So, if you like your in-depth analysis, keep tuning in to Frontline Football. If you haven't tuned in yet and you have a friend who may like it, just try to send them some of our content because they may like our analysis of all these different things. So, I have Josh from Frontline Football, and Jack, hit the plugs.
As always, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at FrontlineFB or links in the description. As always, draft was pretty fun. We're going to be moving into way too early season predictions, I think. And we'll see you guys back here probably next week for that. See you guys then.
See ya.